Hi everyone, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for a Kitaholic Kits design team layout. So for this particular layout, I am using one of the gorgeous exclusive cut files created by Anita. So I hope that you watched my exclusive video that is over in the Kitaholic Kits subscribers group, to show you how I backed my cut file and created my shaker pockets, because now it is time for creating my actual layout. Now you'll notice this video is a 5-minute video, because once your cut file is done, for me the cut file does so much of the work, and the actual creating of my layout is super easy because there is already such a big piece of ephemera on your page with your big giant cut file. Now I attached my cut file using foam, so it is popped up off the page. So the photo itself is being stuck directly onto the cut file. So there's no extra bulk being added for this one. Split, splat. Just going to do a little bit of embellishing up around the corner of the page where the frame, the cut off frame is going. And I do need to pop some things up on foam for that section, because they will, if they're sticking directly to sort of that greeny color paper, then it will need to be up to be as a similar size to the photo. So you'll notice I stuck that orange strip up on foam, so that is definitely adding a little bit more height to this layout, because now that is two things stuck up on foam together. So do be wary as to how much space these things are going to take up in your albums. If you try and squeeze every last inch of space out of your album, the more bulk you add, the less layouts you can fit inside your album. So do just be wary of that. This particular layout I'm creating is going to be quite chunky, because my cut file is on foam, and then a lot of my ephemera is on foam as well. So definitely adding a lot more bulk. I used one of the die cuts there, sleeping in. It is not going to be the entirety of my title. I am going to get out the gorgeous thickers, but it was just a nice little extra piece, or the combining of the two just adds a nice little pop to your layout. Instead of putting the other half of that frame to waste, I'm going to mirror that and pop it down underneath this ephemera cluster, so it's sort of happening in the top left and in the bottom right as well. So this particular layout is signaling that it is the first day of school holidays, or the last day of school. So I am signaling that we have made it, that I am going to be chilling out for the next 2 weeks. I'm having sleep-ins, and I am just basking in the glory of school holidays. So I'm going to talk about what's happening on the layout. This is the way that I like to create my sort of tears at the top and bottom of my pages. I tend to not tear, because I end up making a mess and my tear gets bigger than it needs to be, and it just ends in disaster. So I actually end up cutting a sort of dip out of the 12 by 12, then distressing that up as much as I can with my scissors or my distressing tool, and then sticking my piece of paper flat behind it. And by doing that, I just feel I have more control as to what size that sort of torn out section is. It still looks like it's been torn, but I have more control over the actual direction that it's going, as opposed to if I actually try and tear it, I just end up with it being too big, or in a big mess, or just not working. So for me, that's the way I like to do my torn tops and bottoms. It just works better for me. I found a sequin on the table, and I thought that meant I must have a hole in my shaker pocket, but you just saw me shake it. I shook it upside down, I shook it sideways, nothing else came out. So it must have just been a stray one that was stuck on the side of the cut file. It's all good, nothing else came out. So here is my gorgeous layout. You can see I've popped my title on, sleeping in every day. I've torn my tops and bottoms. Now I'm just going to finish it off with a few splatters. I've got my gold And I'm also going to pull out some white. This white is Liquitex acrylic paint that I got from Spotlight here in Australia. It's got like a big eyedropper, so instead of using that, I am just going to dip in my paintbrush and flick it off my paintbrush, because the big eyedropper would do quite large splots, and I don't want big large splots. I was holding the eyedropper in my mouth, and speaking of large splots, one fell right on my hand. But that's okay, wasn't on my layout. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this process. I hope I have inspired you to get out your cutting machine and cut out one of our exclusive cut files, and maybe you could make some shaker pockets with it as well. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye everyone.